Hey everyone, and welcome to Star Wars Anatomy. Today we're going to be talking about Jedi. Let's be honest, there is no shortage of amazing Jedi out there. There's Jedi Master Yoda, teacher of unparalleled skill and excellent piggyback participant. There's Luke Skywalker, who is known and beloved by fans everywhere, for both his canon story and his extended universe antics, of course. There's Obi-Wan Kenobi, wise Jedi Master and trainer of not one, but two Skywalkers, not to mention Mace Windu of the purple lightsaber, Ki-Adi-Mundi, who had like 7 wives, and Qui-Gon Jinn, who doesn't get nearly enough love in my fangirl opinion. However, if you are anything like me, you have noticed that these Jedi all have something in common. They are all male, and they all have speaking roles in the Star Wars films. Now, don't get me wrong, I have nothing but love for most of these characters, except for Mundi. I really don't like Mundi. But the fact of the matter is, until very recently, female Jedi were seen, but not really heard. Unless, they were being grumpy or something. In today's episode, I'm going to be giving a voice to some of the most inspirational female Jedis whose stories have had an impact on our universe. Note, these choices are based off of these badass ladies' skill as well as personal preference. Any ladies who didn't make it in here are in no way less awesome. Number 7. Jaina Solo. Starting off our countdown is the formidable offspring of Han and Leia. Jaina Solo was the twin sister of Jacen Solo and the older sister to Anakin Solo. Her skills seem to be the perfect culmination of her father's way with ships and her mother's force sensitivity. She spent nearly as much time behind the controls of a starship as with her lightsaber. I'm also pretty sure she's one of the few female characters ever to have been nearly kidnapped 3 times before even being born. So, there's that. While I could spend an entire video on Jaina and her exploits, I will say that she was awesome enough to pretend to be a goddess, to be trained under Boba Fett, to fall in love with this cutie pie, and to hunt down an impressive amount of Sith, including her own fallen brother. The only thing that keeps Jaina so low on this particular list is that she and her siblings exist only in Legends lore. And since the child of Han and Leia that showed up in The Force Awakens was Kylo Ren, it is unlikely that she will be making an appearance in the films. If you want to get to know and love her, I suggest looking into some of these books. Number 6. Depa Bulava. After first popping up on screen, Jedi Master Bulava seemed doomed to walk the same footsteps as many other female Jedi. Silent window dressing and little more. But this particular Jedi, who was trained by Mace Windu himself, ended up having a much broader impact on the universe than originally thought. As a child, Depa was attacked and captured by space pirates, and she was rescued by the Jedi who would eventually become her training master. As a Padawan, she showed exceptional wisdom and favored the third form of lightsaber battles. During the Clone Wars, she showed strength and skill. She even fought Grievous and his droid army on the planet Harum Kal. This lady took on a difficult and sardonic apprentice named Caleb Dume? Whatever. Whom she trained to the best of her ability. Which must have been pretty awesome because he would go on to survive Order 66 and become known as Kanan Jarrus. What I feel makes Jedi Master Bulava truly awesome is that she was aware of her faults and her weaknesses. After a defeat that left her broken both mentally and physically, she took the time to try to heal herself before continuing to fight. It takes a singularly strong person to admit to weaknesses, and I feel she proves that even the best Jedi are hardly perfect. Respect, lady. Respect. Number 5. Barriss Offee. I know. Barriss Offee did some pretty terrible things that hurt a lot of people, but hear me out. This isn't just a list of skilled warriors with great battle abilities. This is a list of pure inspiration, and I feel that Barriss fits that. Trained by none other than Luminara Unduli, Barriss showed skills in the areas of study, ancient history, and the often sought-after healing. So what makes her so special in my book? I think she is the poster child of how the Clone Wars really affected the Jedi. Barriss was not a fighter to begin with. Unlike her warrior friends, Barriss was more content to research and learn than she was to participate in war. She embodied the peaceful side of the Jedi training and fully believed that the Clone Wars were something that the Jedi should not be participating in. She believed that this decision would ultimately lead to the downfall of the Jedi Order, and to a degree, she was right. Barriss Offee hatched a plan to bomb the Jedi Temple itself in an act of terrorism that was meant to cause more distrust for the Jedi and hopefully push them out of the war effort. It didn't work, and her closest friend was blamed for the bombing. In the end, Barriss confessed to her crimes and used her moment before the Jedi Council to talk about the corruption in the Jedi and that this was a war of the dark side. Her words were not without validity, and they touched several Jedi, but ultimately did not win the war. Number 4. the Dark Woman. The Jedi are all about giving up things to become part of the Order. When one is brought to the Jedi Temple, they're supposed to give up their personal culture, unless you're Ki-Adi-Mundi, who didn't. You couldn't take a lover or a spouse, unless you were Ki-Adi-Mundi, of course. And give up personal possessions, unless you were... Okay, have I made my point yet? Feel like I've made my point here. But the Dark Woman did all of that and more. She even gave up her name. A Jedi, she said, should have no possessions, not even an identity. I gave up mine to show humility before the Force. Now that's commitment. Incredibly devoted to the Force itself, the Dark Woman had her own way of doing pretty much everything. Her powers included control over light to appear invisible, phase shifting through walls, and the manipulation of plant matter. She was also one of the best at finding Force-sensitive children. Her most notorious find was an abandoned and unnamed child on the densely populated and lawless planet of Nar Shaddaa. She took the child in and began to look on her as a child who took the name of Aurra Sing. While that training ended in failure, not unlike that of one particularly notorious Jedi Master Pair, she took a great deal of time and effort after this failure to meditate on what she did to cause such a non-achievement. Before Darth Vader tried to kill her off. She also had this badass lightsaber. My only issue? It was her that found Ki-Adi-Mundi and brought him to the Jedi Temple to be trained. Shame. Shame. Number 3. Ahsoka Tano. This list certainly wouldn't be complete without my favorite Padawan. While Ahsoka never achieved the rank of Jedi, she is a female canon character and one of the few non-human Jedi with a story both complex and beloved. Ahsoka Tano was the Padawan student to Jedi Knight Anakin Skywalker, who wasn't too happy about the choice in the first place. During her time in the Clone Wars, she participated in numerous battles, facilitated alliance between the Jedi and the Hutts, befriended Clone Commander Rex, and used her training as a Jedi detective to clear her own name after the bombing of the Jedi Temple, with a little help from one Asajj Ventress. So, if she was so awesome, what kept her from being a Jedi? Well, the Jedi bombing happened. Remember how I said that Barriss Offee affected some of the Jedi with her speech? Well, Tano was one of the people who her words hit the hardest. Ahsoka lost her trust in the Jedi, and the way that they were handling the war effort, and Padawans in general. She left the Order because she had lost faith in who they were and what they stood for, which may have been what saved her from Order 66 and allowed her to become a part of the rebellion later on. It's my fangirl opinion that Tano has a huge impact on the story of Anakin Skywalker and his steps into becoming Darth Vader. I also believe that it is her implied death that completes Skywalker's fall to the dark side. Number 2. Bastila Shan. A fan favorite for a reason, Talravan-born Bastila started off life as a hunter's daughter and ended life as the most powerful Jedi of the Old Republic. A Jedi Sentinel in her training, Shan's greatest ability was that of battle meditation, or the ability to affect a battle on a tactical scale as well as a morale one. This was the reason that she was sent with the strike team that would take on one of the most infamous Darths the Sith have ever produced, Revan. During this attack, Bastila created a link that would eventually affect her and Revan in ways that neither could have predicted. Shan's strength includes skill with a double-bladed lightsaber, force-guided telepathy, and a rapier-sharp wit. Now, it's almost impossible to state exactly who Bastila was and what she did since her storyline depends entirely upon your choices in BioWare's Knights of the Old Republic. But she was a strong and passionate Lady Jedi whose personality shaped who Revan was. And yes, I am fully aware that there is a canon version of Revan, but I disagree with it, so I sit it over here in my big old box of denial. Number 1. Rey. You had to have seen this coming. Really, you did. You're more than welcome to argue with me, but I hold my ground that Rey is the culmination of a great female Jedi, and more importantly, what she has done for the universe and the fandom as a whole. Rey's history is, at the creation of this video, ambiguous. There are plenty of theories out there that range from her being the daughter of Luke Skywalker and his extended universe bride Mara Jade, or even the offspring of Obi-Wan Kenobi and this Mandalorian queen. To be perfectly honest, I don't care who gave her their genetics. I really just want to say thank you. Rey, no last name as of yet, has shown an incredible skill set that includes, but definitely not limited to, droid repair, land vehicle piloting, spaceship piloting, tech knowledge, force sense, force sight, hindsight, force persuasion, and badass fighter extraordinaire. She has the kind of strength and kindness that I have been waiting to see in a Jedi, and I cannot wait to see what else she has to give us. So, there we have it. This is my list of the most inspirational female Jedis that the Star Wars universe has produced. Agree or disagree, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Thank you for tuning in, and remember to like, subscribe, and share. Till next time, may the Force be with you.